and is I can't remember what he's a fan now. He's an Eagles fan, I think he is. And there's just a couple of
combo.
Yeah, there's a couple other Packer fans.
Gross.
Yeah, like it's cool. It's a nice little change of scenery.
Yeah.
But you know what else is a nice change of scenery? My fiance's reaction to Kim's reaction to the Eichel trade.
You gotta tell me that reaction, because I have a feeling my reaction's different from a lot of other people.
Like, she's a little bit upset because she actually liked Krebs. She wants to keep some of these prospects. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's not. She's like, yeah, what the hell?
Okay, so I'm kind of on the same page as her.
Are you?
Yeah.
That's hilarious. Yeah, I don't. I'm just like, whatever. Give me a second here. Where's the show? Why hasn't it popped up? We got people watching and stuff.
Oh, it popped up for me.
It popped up for you? Oh, I'm just obviously an idiot.
It just doesn't want you to share it.
It never wants to for me. Here we go. Let me just do this properly. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome. While I finally get the show and I can finally do my part of the job, and that's share the damn thing. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to North Sports Dynasty on a Saturday, where both of us are finally here again, and we're exhausted. We're literally just talking about the new job that I have. Anyway, Alex is still at the same shitty place. No, I'm kidding. But we're just talking about that. But also today we are going to be talking about fantasy football. Basically everything. Like it's the Buccaneers bye week. It's the Lions bye week, if you could imagine that. And it's all fallen into this beautiful thing for at least me this weekend. So I don't get Buccaneers football, but I get the NASCAR championship race. And that's pretty damn good. Oh, yeah,
that wound up well for you.
Chase Elliott. Oh, I forgot to say, my boss, Kyle Larson fan.
Ooh. Okay.
Yeah, literally walking to her office, and I'm like, there's Kyle Larson thing. And then the other side is another dude who's like a fan of Earnhardt Jr. and all that. And I'm like, oh, my goodness gracious. I'm going to love this place. Speaking of loving this place, if you love North Sports Dynasty, give us a like, give us a follow, give us a share. Tell your friends that we also got a whoops. Right. I got to click the right things here. We also got a Dynasty coming up in February. That's what's happening. Once the season is done, we are going to be going and grabbing our peeps and building the new Dynasty from scratch. We will have it live streamed at some point between February, March, and possibly April. It will be a spectacular, only because we are going to have almost all the people available for it for a live, whether they can be or not, whether they want to be or not. But we are going to have a nice big live extravaganza for the Dynasty draft. It's not going to be mock drafts like me and Alex used to do in the off season. Also, I've had a couple people reach out and say, where's the site? That's on me. The site is down because the site has been up for a little bit, got some traffic. We got a lot of likes. We got a lot of comments on it. And I just want to put up a better site. So we still got the domain name. It's still going to be available coming up here in the off season, because right now that seems to be the best place to go for our off season content is in the off season. And this is still new. We're still figuring out from the ground up. We still got a lot of followers and a lot of people who want to help out with the show. We got a couple of possible sponsors coming down along the pipes, but we just obviously got to make some time. And my life has been in a little bit of a scramble. Alex has been in not a scramble, but he's got roommates now.
Yeah.
And I got kids and stuff. So we're still trying to make this thing work. It's gonna be good. It's going to be big. I can promise you that. The fact that we got brought on by Bucks Report is just like,
yeah.
Now we run Bucks Report. Yeah. No, just kidding. So today we're just doing a quick little hour show. Drop a comment. Let us know that you're out there. We want to see you. But also today, we want to let you get help this upcoming weekend for fantasy football. A lot of different injuries around the league. A lot of different things that have been going on, especially in football. Like, who the hell thought a couple of weeks ago the Jets were going to go off? But then.
Well, and they were playing well on Thursday before Mike White got hurt.
Yep. Yep. Mike White went down. They were actually tied, looking really good for a little bit there. But the inevitable happened. You are the Jets. A couple people at work, actually, the Packer fan brought up, was bringing up Tom Brady. I'm sick of Tom Brady, man. I'm like, you know what? Respectively, I was too until he came to my team. Now I love the dude. I don't care if he ever doesn't retire. And he goes, that's my problem. He goes, I want Brady to retire. The only reason I want Brady to retire is because I'm done watching Brady. Like, I want to watch. The league always goes like every 15, 20 years. So they don't want that. He's like, Brady's going to leave the Buccaneers when he's 50, and the son of a gun is going to go and coach or be a GM or something. Then he's going to win rings like that. And I'm like, yep. Mm-hmm. Yep, he's going to. Welcome to the sad reality of our generation of football where we have to watch that. It's the inevitable. So, but that also being said, we did talk about something with regards to Tom Brady's legacies, where he's like, you want to see a real legacy? Let him go to the Jets and win. I'm like, Tom Brady's not built to go to a team like that and win. No. He's built to have a team with good coaching and stability around him, and that's how he wins. That's the truth. That's how it's always been with some of those type of quarterbacks. Some quarterbacks can be just really, really good where they can go to a team and they can make that team good. But we all know that what makes a team is the team being built around, say, the quarterback. So we talked about Aaron Rodgers' situation. Said, where the hell is Rodgers going to go? And I said, I still right now I'm holding Denver. But I still said the one thing that overhangs this whole situation, obviously now, is the interview on the Pat McAfee show yesterday. Did you see that?
I saw clips of it. I was going to go and watch the whole thing after.
I literally just finished watching it this morning, like the whole thing. I watched half of it yesterday, half of it today. I don't know what to say, to be completely honest, because I don't know what we can actually say in regards to it. Without, say, like a cancel culture possibly coming around and, poking noses where it shouldn't be. But, it's a tough situation for Rodgers. It's a tough situation for the NFL. It's a tough situation all around there. What do you think here? What has Rodgers actually done? You know what I mean? Like, what do you think is going to come from this?
Can anything really come from this other than him? Like, he's got to be out the 10 days.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden he's fine. Like, he doesn't have to get tested or anything like that anymore, he said. And I'm like, okay.
That seems weird. I would
for
think
90 days or something like that.
Well, I mean, technically, if you test positive, then there is enough of the sickness still in your system to test positive after 90 days. That is true. Because they told me that when I tested positive. So
that's right. That's right. Yeah, I forgot.
To me, and oddly enough, Tim Tebow is the one I agreed with on this whole situation. He's like, if you punish Aaron Rodgers, you're essentially punishing him for lying. So is that where you're drawing the line? Because coaches lie about everything, players lie about all this stuff. So where does this stop?
Just because all of a sudden you want to make a point, or you want to point the finger at some situation like that, you're gonna find them. It's kind of like last night. So I know that you didn't have the pigskin show up, and I'm sorry I couldn't hop in. At the time, I was busy, and then the fiance had left, and I had popped up on Mr. Harry Greek's show there, and we were talking a little bit about just different situations going around in the league. And one thing there was with this whole Aaron Rodgers situation is what kind of punishment can you do? Oh, and also, sorry, the Chicago Blackhawks situation that's going on in the NHL.
Oh, yeah.
What kind of punishments could you actually do? Say to like Aaron Rodgers or the Chicago Blackhawks in this case, though very different spectrums.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things where it's a gray area where it's like, I don't know if you can actually fine or suspend any, like Rodgers, at least in this case.
Yeah.
Because if you do that, then Cole Beasley and a couple of those other guys like have to be suspended as well. That's kind of the point here, is it not?
Yeah, I think so. And like I said before, I think if you punish, I'll stick to the Rodgers situation because I don't want to open that other can of worms.
Yeah.
But if you do punish him in any way, then it's like, okay, how far back do we have to go and punish all these people for doing essentially the same thing?
Yeah. And
like, you're just getting yourself into trouble. They did fire somebody for email sent out 10 years ago. So
exactly. So got a couple of comments in the section here, which if you guys and ladies, anybody ever needs any comments answered, drop them down in the comment section. We will answer them live here.
Yes.
We'll basically stop what we are doing, except if we're in a big segment, of course, and answer your questions. And Connor LaRose, thank you for tuning in, says Gaskin, Damian Harris, Daryl Williams, pick one PPR. For this week, I'm looking at the matchups. Gaskin's going up against Houston. Daryl Williams is going up against the Packers. Am I correct? That's right.
And Damian Harris against the Panthers.
So right off the bat, I do like Gaskin.
Yeah.
Right off the bat, he is it's a very optional flex player this year. Very optional. Like, it's week to week. Again, I'm still going to be held accountable for it in the offseason. My whole take about Gaskin against the Bucs, I'm like, I wouldn't play him because that's not a good idea. And he goes off for a career high in receptions and fantasy points. So I'm like, oh, well, that's on me. So I am leaning towards him just because he's up against Houston. Though also, I wouldn't be surprised if Daryl Williams does end up getting a little bit more of the bulk of the carries, just a little bit more. So maybe look for Daryl Williams as well. If you got two flex spots and you need to use two running backs, I wouldn't mind using any three of them. But yeah, if I only had to pick one, I'll take Gaskins all day. What do you think, Alex?
To me, it's in this order: Gaskin, Harris, and Daryl Williams, because that Packers defense is playing very good football right now. Like, there's not many teams playing better defense than the Packers.
Yeah.
At this moment, Damian Harris has been a very good running back this year for New England when he's been in the lineup. But Gaskin against that Houston defense, I think he's going to eat, man. Like, that's going to be a hell of a week for him.
Yeah, I'm assuming that'll happen as well. Next question that we got here is Chill Will. It says, what players should the Bucs re-sign? So in the offseason, right off the top of my head, I'd say like Gronk as a free agent. OJ Howard would be a free agent. JPP, I think, is a free agent.
I'm going to look it up.
Yeah. But as for, the major ones, I'm just trying to think of some of the other ones at the top of my head here too. What other rookies would need to get? Kappa, that's the other one. I know Kappa's a big one.
What about Rojo?
Let's just stick with Kappa here for a second. Kappa, I think, is the number one person I've said that needs to be resigned. The offensive line is perfect right now. Like, besides, obviously, Donovan Smith. But you can develop another left tackle. People have done it in the past. People can continue to do it. It's just one of those things. But
there's quite a few.
Yeah. And people say, well, it's harder to develop a left tackle than it is a guard. Well, true. But Kappa, Jensen, and Marpet together just make this absolutely beautiful tangent that also infuriates other defenses. So I want to take that all day, every day. Don't give a damn. Don't give a fuck.
I agree on Kappa 100%. Yeah. Carlton Davis.
Yeah, Carlton Davis would be another one that needs to be resigned as well, for sure. Number one corner, hands down.
I would say Fournette.
No, if Fournette is
you're letting Fournette walk.
If Fournette is coming back at, say, a $5 million discount, I mean, he's coming back at $5 million, and all of it is guaranteed, maybe. And the only reason,
I was saying at a fair contract.
Yeah, and it's not because he's outperformed, because he has, definitely. But you have to understand the situation that is at hand. You were like, I need more carries in the Super Bowl year, and you got your Super Bowl. We still don't know what's going on this year, and you're getting the bulk of the carries. So what happens if you do come back and become fumble Fournette? Right?
Yeah.
So we don't know yet. I like Fournette. I would love to have him for the rest of next year and a couple of years after that, just until he starts falling off of that, say, youth pedestal. But that also being said, where the Bucs draft this year, in the draft, 8 positions ahead of them, Najee went to Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
And for some odd reason, if Pittsburgh doesn't pick up Najee and no one trades into the first round, and the Buccaneers, for some odd reason, we're sitting there thinking Najee Harris or Joe Tryon, I'm not so sure that the Buccaneers pick Joe Tryon there. That's just personally me. That's just personally me, because Najee Harris has that ability. Because they would have been like, Rojo's our third down back, or we are going to trade Rojo. Or Fournette is going to walk at this point, or just something like that would have happened. But it wouldn't have been so drastic that we would have put ourselves in a pickle. And I like Joe Tryon right now. So, yeah.
Now, with that being said, with Tryon, you got a lot of your veteran D-line. Their contracts are up this year. JPP, Sue, Golston.
Yeah.
What of those guys do you bring back? Steve McClendon, Pat O'Connor.
If we're doing the same thing, if we won the Super Bowl this year and for some odd reason Bruce Arians is like, I ain't going fucking anywhere again, kind of thing. We're like, we're going for 3. Bring them all back. Don't care. Just make it work. But 1 year, $3 million here. Sue gets his 8 or whatever the fudge he would want. Golston gets 3. Just give him the damn money. Give him an all 1-year contract. Go draft another defensive tackle at number 32 then and call it a day. Or go grab another edge rusher or whatever you need, kind of thing. Because you got Devin White, you'd have Joe Tryon, you'd have Vita Vea for at least when all those guys got to go. So go grab maybe – and essentially Shaq, but I think he'd have to go too, because he'd be asking for too much more money after his short little contract here. So maybe go grab another – Shaq Barrett. That would be what I think. If that be the case, then. So
now I'm assuming Jensen comes back.
Yeah,
he's a pending free agent.
Yeah, 2-year, $22 million is essentially what I'm thinking, and that's I can eat that. I can do that.
And then looking at receivers, I'm assuming Godwin's probably priced himself out. And then has Antonio Brown done the same thing?
I'd have to double check my say full notes on this, but I think we can franchise tag Chris Godwin again. That's going
to be a lot though, because it's a big raise.
Who the hell cares? It's giving him the money that he would deserve for at least a year and not letting him walk. Because as a GM, I understand that I'm winning Super Bowls and all that kind of stuff, but for the development of the next quarterback, to have Tyler Johnson and Jalen Darden say as your slots, right?
Yeah.
Or even if eventually Chris Godwin's got to go and Mike Evans is your 1, Tyler Johnson's your 2, and Darden's your 3. Okay, that's good development because Mike Evans there. It's better development when those 4 dudes right there are your next wide receivers for your next quarterback for the next 4 or 5 years. Mm-hmm. So Antonio Brown will probably price himself out, and if he doesn't go to say the Chiefs or hell even Buffalo for a year, Baltimore, something like that. But he'll get $10, $11 million. I think he's earned that in a way. I want to keep Chris Godwin though, and I want to find a way to keep Chris Godwin just for Kyle Trask's development or whoever's development.
I think at this point, if nothing else, you try and tag him at least to trade him.
I don't know if we can trade him. That's a hard one because everybody was like, pack up Rojo and OJ and send them off, right?
Yeah.
And it didn't happen, thank God, because I want to keep this depth. But
yeah,
I want to keep as many of these young guys respectively as I can, except Rojo. And I want a new left tackle, I want a new running back, and I need one edge rusher. And I think with re-signing all of the younger guys right now, you can make that team a 8-9 to 9-8 team without Tom Brady and Kyle Trask in there. You can make that team an 8-9 to 9-8 without Tom Brady, without Antonio Brown, without Leonard Fournette, without Sue and all that kind of stuff. Like the parts would be there where you can go into free agency in the later parts of the draft and, get some fillers that you would need here and there.
Yeah.
But Joe Tryon will be coming in. Devin White will be taking over that defensive spot when Levante David inevitably has to go, when Shaq Barrett inevitably has to go because he will be getting paid. Joe Tryon will be taking his place as well. We'll be getting another one in the draft at some point. Grabbing a running back would just help the offense as well, because if our offensive line just gives our quarterback time to pass it, and we still have good wide receivers, then we put up points, which gives our defense a better chance to do their job. So and that's the reason why I've said before too, I don't want people who are Buccaneer fans to think we need to put ourselves in a financial hole to get this player and this player for right now. No, we're really good right now. We did really good right now, just signing free agents who are becoming fucking coaches, for crying out loud. So
I'm just throwing this out there. The franchise tag this year was just under 16.
Yeah.
The franchise tag for a receiver next year is just over 19.
Yeah. And I think in the second year, we'd probably get him a little bonus too. So he'd probably get like 21 or 22.
Yeah, I'm thinking like 22.
It's basically it's like giving him a 3-year contract or a 2-year contract and then just voiding the last year and then paying them all up front. Same fucking thing. Essentially.
Yeah. I don't know if you guys can justify that.
I agree. I don't think we can either, but I think we can do a pretty damn good job in the offseason, at least trying to convince him to stay. So,
yeah.
All right. I have to take a bite of candy because, I'm not diabetic. It's just really fucking good. It's been staring at me the whole time. All right. Speaking of really, really good, let's talk our 5 starts, sits, and slumps here.
All right.
Let's start with the top 5 starts of the week, as I officially have finally dropped my pen.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah, and the
23 minutes in. Not terrible.
Not terrible. Yeah. Just not doing it in general. So my 5 in order right off the bat, and then we'll talk about it, and we'll talk about Alex's right after that too. We got 5, Donovan Peoples-Jones from Cleveland.
I like that.
4, Zay Jones from the Las Vegas Raiders. Number 3, I think it's Derek Gore.
Yeah.
Kansas City, the running back there. Tyrell Sweeney, the tight end for Buffalo. And number 1, Carlos Hyde. There we go. The running back for Jacksonville. Just quickly on a couple of these. Peoples-Jones, Odell Beckham being out means he's just going to see a couple of more targets. And that's the same reason with Zay Jones, except obviously a little bit more because Henry Ruggs is a piece of shit.
Yeah.
And let that be known on this platform that if you drink and drive and you murder somebody, you do not get nothing. You're a piece of shit. I understand what Derek Carr has said 100%. That he needs love and stuff like that. But that is you as his old quarterback then to give him that. Me as the outsider who only sees a drunk piece of shit and an overpaid Carr with his money. And now his teammate being found to just have a gun and saying, I'm going to kill people and stuff like that on an Instagram post in the first round pick, cornerback Damon Arnett. Not only are the Las Vegas Raiders a bit of a problem right now, There's a bit of a culture issue with some of these young guys, and Henry Ruggs is a piece of shit for it.
Now, I will say this. The NFL needs to do a better job with these kids.
Yes, they do.
You're giving them all this money and no guidance.
Mm-hmm.
There needs to be somebody in place. And I know I saw this thing. There's this program for the NFL players, coaches, etc., where any of these NFL cities you're in, you can call and they've got a ride for you.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the NFL needs to do more to make sure these guys are okay. Like,
yeah,
that's a lot for somebody that young to have that much money in a city like Vegas.
Yep. Number 3, Derek Gore. I said just from Kansas City. Just the injuries is one of the main reasons. Number 2, same thing within Buffalo, especially with the target share that you see in Buffalo. He likes the tight end spot, so look for him to see it there. Number 1, if James Robinson does not play, give me Carlos Hyde all day. So, Alex, give me your top 5 starts.
My number 5 is Rashad Bateman. I think with Sammy Watkins getting back into the fold, there's so many weapons there that I think they can't focus strictly on Bateman. So I think he'll do really well this week. Number 4 is Jalen Waddle, just against Houston. Tua's got that chemistry with him. I think that's going to work out wonderfully. Number 3, Alvin Kamara, just against that Falcons defense. And whether it's Simeon or Hill or a mixture of the two, you don't really got much else. So target Alvin Kamara. Number 2 is Stephon Diggs against that Jacksonville defense. He's going to eat. And number 1 is Aaron Jones. The Kansas City Chiefs have not been able to stop the run this year. Well, they haven't been able to stop anything, but especially not the run. And with no Aaron Rodgers, and they're relying on Jordan Love, you're essentially throwing a rookie quarterback out there, and that means run the ball, run the ball, run the ball. So Aaron Jones is the number 1 start for me.
Nice. We got some sits here this week. Mine in order from 5 to 1. Number 5, Jordan Howard, the running back of Philadelphia. Number 4, the quarterback of Arizona, Colt McCoy. Number 3, Russell Gage, wide receiver for Atlanta. Number 2, actually, my apologies. Yeah, I had those arrows switched. That's what I thought. Sweeney is actually a sit here. Dan Arnold was my number 2 start because of Jacksonville.
Oh, okay.
There. And number 1 sit is Jordan Love. So just quickly here, Jordan Howard had a good week. Kenneth Gainwell is probably going to see more of this share, so let that be. I don't trust Arizona when Colt McCoy has to go in last second. Russell Gage is a problem for fantasy owners, so I don't trust it, so don't even try it. I talked about Sweeney on a good side, but also at the same time, too, with the target share that the tight ends see, it's going to be a big game for Buffalo, so maybe some other wide receivers are going to see more catches. But the Jordan Love situation in Green Bay, I love the fact that he's going to get an opportunity, but we do not know. It's just like we didn't know what Mike White was going to be, but if you have to risk it, fucking put Jordan Love in, and you never know. We didn't know Mike White was going to get 52.4 points, so Jordan Love could have a 60 burger. Who knows? He could put 5 touchdowns up. Who the hell knows? He could also throw 5 interceptions. We don't know. So that's my 5 sits of the week. Alex, give me your 5.
All right, so my number 5, I have Daryl Williams, running back for Kansas City. Like I said, those Green Bay linebackers and that Green Bay defense is legit, so I'm not taking that risk. Number 4 is Marvin Jones Jr., wide receiver for Jacksonville. Probably getting Tre'Davious White, seeing as he's been their only receiver. So Marvin Jones is getting clamped this game. Number 3, I put James Robinson, but you could also, to me, even if he does play, I don't see much happening against that Bills defense. Number 2, I've got Ryan Tannehill for the Titans. You lost your security blanket. Derrick Henry is gone. We don't know how these running backs are going to fare this weekend.
Yep.
And you're going up against Aaron Donald and Von Miller. So your life is going to suck on Sunday. So
and Ramsey.
Yeah.
Fuck that defense.
If they're smart, you just have Ramsey shadow AJ Brown.
Yep.
And try and win the game, Tannehill. Like,
Exactly.
it's all on you. And my number one sit is Justin Fields against that Pittsburgh defense. Allen Robinson's been a total bust this season. Darnell Mooney's been good, but TJ Watt's gonna go off against this offensive line, I think. Like,
if he plays, though.
Yeah,
if he plays, because I'm waiting in your fantasy league there to find out if he's playing, because I'm not going to put you in or not. So yeah. Okay, so that was the 5 sits for Alex Loosemore. I agree with most of those. Whoa, my lights are being weird. Earthquake, no! No, I'm just kidding. My 5 slumps in order from 5 to 1. 5 to 3, or 5 to and 4 are basically actual slumps. 5 and 4 here, Cole Kmet, and then number 4, Adam Troutman. These tight ends were projected to start becoming second-tier elites.
Yep.
I even made a trade this year thinking that Cole Kmet would be one of these. Luckily, I got Troutman for basically scrapes.
Yeah.
None of them are working. So they are number 5 and 4, respectively, though I would still keep them on my bench if you are in a Dynasty League, just because of the opportunities that they will get in a year or two. But that's only if you have the space to do it.
Yeah.
Number 3, Ronald Jones. I said he's on this list until he actually proves me something. So he's just sitting there at number 3 as per usual. Show me something. Number 2, Odell Beckham Jr. Yep. It's there.
Yeah.
And it's about to be waived. And we don't even know where he's about to sign. And we got people saying he's going to come to Tampa Bay. And I'm like, oh my God.
Now, see, here's the thing. It goes, the waivers, it goes in reverse standings.
Yep.
So you guys are way at the bottom of that.
Oh, I'm completely aware. But there's even reports that say that he will not get signed by anybody. So I'm like, oh, great.
I mean, that wouldn't totally shock me. But I've seen a lot of Lions fans because we have number 1 priority.
I know you do.
And I was like, we don't have the cap room for that.
Nope.
Because they modified his contract.
Yep.
So he's a pending free agent, and you only have to eat, I think it's $7.5 million.
Something like that, yeah.
Or 5.7, 7.5, one of those two.
Yeah.
We fall just short of that. So, I mean, if they really want him to rework contracts and all that, go for it. Because, I mean, we need some talent at receiver, and we can have a whack job for 6-7 games. I don't care. But if he's losing his mind in New York and Cleveland, imagine him in Detroit. That's all I'm saying.
I just, if he is the problem in the locker room, I don't want him in Tampa.
Yeah.
I don't want him in Tampa at all. So
now I feel like if there's any locker room that would straighten him out, yours might be it.
Did do it with Antonio Brown. That's true.
Yeah.
And then, of course, let me get this number 1 slump out of the way. It's Henry Ruggs. He's a piece of shit. Henry Ruggs is a piece of shit and should be dropped from every single person's roster from now on.
Well, I mean, he's facing 2 to 20 years, so
bye.
Yeah.
If he only gets 2 years for murder, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
I'm guessing he'll get 8 to 10 because he's well known and all that. They'll give him, and he's young. They'll give him 8 to 10 years, and
dumbest shit.
He'll come out around 30. Yep.
Dumbest shit I've ever heard. All right, buddy. What are your 5 slumps?
So you're not gonna like my number 5 slump. This week I have a theme with mine, and it's a lot of people that are way too inconsistent for my liking. Number 5 is Kenneth Gainwell. He's had 2 good games so far, and about 4 where he just hasn't shown up. And last week was one of those where he hasn't shown up, where every other running back on the team showed up. So to me, it's time to, until he puts 2 consistent games together, I would leave him on my bench personally.
All right.
Number 4, Damian Williams, the running back from Chicago. Trending in the wrong direction. Khalil Herbert's taking over that backfield. It'll be interesting to see Herbert and Montgomery next year when Montgomery gets back.
Yeah.
Yeah, Damian Williams, I would drop him altogether at this point, unless Herbert gets hurt. Then you bring him back in, but he's not worth playing at all. Randall Cobb is my number 3. Same thing as Gainwell. He's only had 2 games of over 7.5 points. 2 or 3, and those 2 or 3 he goes off for 15.
Mm-hmm.
But I need some consistency out of my bench, and he's not it. Number 2 is Jimmy Garoppolo. Even when he's been in, he hasn't produced much fantasy-wise, so
That's
to
true.
me, he's done.
Very true.
They are saying with a couple more losses, they are going to go to Trey Lance. So is what I've been seeing. So Jimmy G is done in my eyes. I also thought the Saints should have tried to trade for him, but I think he's better than Simeon or Taysom Hill. But and my number 1 slump is Allen Robinson.
Gosh.
That's my bust of the season.
What has happened?
I don't know.
Oh, wait, you have a rookie quarterback, and freaking Nagy is your head coach.
I think Nagy's the problem, not Fields.
Well, and that's kind of...
Robinson's targets have been going up.
Yeah,
so
here's
Fields
the thing.
likes to use them, but...
Here's the thing. I even said this on that show I was on last night. I wasn't even trying to be a homer because I was on a Chicago Bears show. But I was like, I like what the Bears are going to be, like with their left tackle and all that kind of stuff. Like, I like where they're going to be. This is going to be a good team. So,
yeah. Very quickly, too, like a year or two.
Got another question. Peter X says, Cornell, Patterson, or Nick Chubb, who are you starting? I'm actually going Nick Chubb. Cordell Patterson is going up against the New Orleans Saints defense. The New Orleans Saints defense did a pretty damn good job against the Buccaneers, as much as I hate to say that. So I'm going to go with Nick Chubb on this one, only because Cordell Patterson will probably get stuffed a little bit more than you think. What do you think, Alex?
See, and like right away, I was like Nick Chubb. But the thing that worries me is the high-powered offense they're going against out of Cincinnati. Nick Chubb might become irrelevant in that game. Well, they might have to start throwing the ball.
You're not wrong, but also, go ahead.
To me, both these running backs worry me a little bit this week, to be quite frank with you. But I would still lean Nick Chubb and just hope that it stays a close game. It sucks either which way, but like the red zone on both of these guys could be the real answer on it. But I'd still go Nick Chubb. And he says, thanks for answering. Not a problem, Peter. That's what we do. Thank you for asking.
Yeah, you got a question for fantasy or just anything about anything, really, like sports in general. We answer it live here on the show. Speaking of fantasy, I know a lot of people have asked us if we're doing hockey. That might come a couple years down the road. I got to get a little bit more in depth of what the hockey is like for fantasy. Because I would just pick goalies. Isn't that how you win? What?
I mean, but you need other people to play.
No.
I did one last year.
Okay.
And I enjoyed it. I got into 7 freaking fantasy football leagues this year. 3 of them are Dynasty. So I was quite tied up this year.
Freaking. So let's go into hockey here for a little bit. Our Red Wings aren't looking that bad.
No.
The young guys are playing okay.
Yep, I was just going to say that.
The young guys are doing okay.
Raymond looks awesome. Sider looks awesome. Zadina looks really good.
Oh, my God. I love it.
Nedeljkovic is 2 hit or miss right now for me, but that's the way he was in Carolina, too.
Which is fine.
Yeah.
What about, what jersey would you get first? You getting, whose jersey would you get first out of this crop?
Out of the young guys?
Out of just any of these guys playing right now.
To me, Larkin would be right at the top of the list for me. Dylan Larkin's been one of my favorite players for the last few years.
Fair enough.
But then I think it's Sider.
Yeah,
personally.
I'm leading Sider, bro.
I'm
on the Sider trade now. I think Sider is going to be something big. Like, literally is a huge fucking dude on the ice. And
he's playing with that badass mentality, too. He's going to fight anybody that comes at him. Like, he's not backing down.
At any of his fucking players too, which I absolutely adore as well.
Yeah.
So, I'm liking what Detroit's finally doing. Detroit's finally looking up. It's not easy to watch this for the last couple of years. But we are trending in the right direction, which is good.
Now I will
very
say
happy.
it's been kind of frustrating that the one goalie we can't seem to figure out this year is Jake Allen.
We can't figure out the Montreal Canadiens at all. They score like 9 fucking goals on us every time we play.
2 ass whoopings in a row.
I hate it. I absolutely hate it.
But other than Montreal, we seem to be like, I mean, we got handled by Boston last night, but going to overtime with Florida, going to overtime with Tampa, with Washington, with like, and some of them were winning, some of them were losing, but we're competing against the top teams in the league, which is nice to see.
And plus, look at all the stuff that happened to Detroit there against that Florida game. We were down 2-1, and they literally just kept shooting the puck at our players, and we kept blocking the damn shots. This is in the middle.
That was amazing.
This is like the 8th game of the season. This is not a playoff game. This isn't anything like that. Like, what the fuck are we doing? What are we doing? We're trying to show the fans that we're still here and we're willing to play. And I appreciated it. I've been showing you
I'm all for
left, right, and center. Hells yeah.
Yeah.
And you know what? To be honest, now let's talk about this. Okay, let's talk about the Eichel trade here, because Eichel officially got traded out of Buffalo. He will get the surgery, the 3 to 5 month surgery. And he was traded to Vegas. Okay.
Yeah.
The full trade was Jack Eichel and a 3rd round pick for next year, right?
Yeah, in 2023.
Yeah. For Peyton Krebs, Alex Tuck, a 2022 first round pick, and a
that's top 10 protected.
Yes, and a 2023 second rounder, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, what I was going to say was the first round pick is top 10 protected. And if that be the case, both of those picks, the second round pick too, would move a year down in the first round
and
pick.
Even the one that Vegas gets as well. Every pick slides back a year.
Yeah. For some odd reason, this whole trade just didn't work, and letting Fleury go just didn't work. And they just made sure they're like, we're still in the Shane Wright sweepstakes. We'll have Eichel and Shane Wright possibly. It's like,
good Lord.
And so here's the thing. When I told my fiance about the trade, I literally was just getting up for work, was telling her that, I kind of woke her up. I'm like, hey, babe. And she goes, hi. And I'm like, so Vegas did the trade. And she goes, and she like wakes up like, okay, like I'm up now. Like, who do we get? And I'm like, you got Jack Eichel. And she goes, okay. So then I go to work, come home. We start talking about it a little bit more. And she goes, what did I get? And I'm like, well, here's the problem. You guys got a really good player that has a bad injury that needs to get fixed. That's never been done before. And he was drafted right behind Connor McDavid. And in any draft for like the last 15 years, he would have gone number 1 overall had it not been the same draft that fucking McDavid was in.
Yeah.
That's inevitable. Now, if this procedure works, Eichel and healthy, I argue, Eichel being on the center of Pacioretty and Stone with Theodore and Pietrangelo is some of the stupidest fucking line combinations you could have ever asked for.
That's a cup winning first group. And like multiple championship winning first group.
That's literally what I told my fiance. I'm like, I understand that you liked Krebs, totally understand. And I understand that it sucks to give up another first round pick. And she really liked Tuck too. Like she likes the whole squad that she's had here. She wants them all to retire. Totally understand that. I was like, but we all just witnessed what McDavid can do last night.
Yeah.
Last night.
I was watching that game.
So was I.
I was just on. Like, I was over at Cody's and we were talking, and he like turned away from the screen like right before it happened, like right before he started undressing the entire team.
Yep.
And I pointed at the screen. I was like, look at this replay. Like,
I paused.
Oh my God.
I paused after it was done and rewound it. And I went and got Kim because she was upstairs. I'm like, you just need to come and watch this.
Yeah.
And so then that's when I told her, I'm like, listen to this. You now have a guy who is just as close to McDavid when he is healthy. Eichel is a McDavid, but rated B. That's inevitable. That's the truth. Yeah. I know a lot of people may come on here like later on and be like, that's so fucking stupid, blah, 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 blah. If he was healthy and had he been playing and not having this little problem with the Buffalo Sabres organization, he could have easily been in the running for either assistant captain or captain of Team USA.
Yeah.
This is big for the Gold Knights. Not only that, let's say they give him the full take 6 months. Because when you come back, it'll be for game 1 of the first round of the playoffs. Fuck it. We'll just take what that Tampa Bay's done. We'll just set up this team, make sure that he cannot come back until the very first game of the playoffs. And now all of a sudden you don't have to pay him the $10 million, or you don't have to pay against the cap the $10 million.
Yeah.
That's the NHL. I think the Golden Knights have found something here that might actually put them over the top. Because right now, the team that you have to beat in the West is the fucking Oilers. I don't care what anyone says.
Yeah.
Mikko Koskinen was finally having a bad night that our friend Chris Warshchuk always has been waiting to like just, take advantage of that situation. But even in a bad game, McDavid put up the highlight of the year.
Yeah.
And if you haven't seen that clip, you should go check it out because I'm still in shock. That was like, wow.
Yeah.
And now I bring up the question to you then. What do you think the Red Wings would have had to offer? Because let's think of this logically, right? We were not giving a first-round pick for next year.
No.
At all. And we weren't giving a first-round pick for the year after that at all.
I thought maybe that one. Because if you get Jack Eichel, same thing Vegas is doing. You rest him this year.
Yeah.
You take that shot at Shane Wright.
Yeah.
But then whatever prospect you get, you pair them with Eichel, and you're not contending for Connor Bedard anymore. You're contending for playoffs.
Well, so that's the other thing I was thinking too. Like, let's say for some odd reason, then, if Detroit were to make this make an offer, right, it would have had to be the 2023 first overall pick, top 10 protected.
Yeah,
hands
obviously,
hands down, had to be top 10 protected. That I could have okayed with. So then, if we start with that first round pick, the 2023 first rounder, top 10 protected. Okay.
Yep.
I'm going to put a top 10P there. Now what? So now we have to get the equivalent of a Peyton Krebs and an Alex Tuck from our team. So on our roster, you're probably looking at Todd Bertuzzi.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that Alex Tuck is on the same level at all.
Tyler's getting traded though.
But Tyler is getting traded.
Yeah.
So that advantage would probably lessen the prospect that we would have to give, but still give a decent prospect.
Yeah.
I don't think we would have had to give up Berggren. But I think
see, Berggren's where I was thinking.
Were you? Okay, so let's say we had to give up Berggren. So our package would have been Todd Bertuzzi, Berggren, a 2023 first, top 10 protected, and a 2023.
I would have done 2022 second.
2022 second?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I guess we could have gotten a couple.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, so looking at that. Man.
I still wouldn't have wanted to give that up.
I wouldn't have. But I would have understood the Bertuzzi thing. Berggren might actually play well in a couple years here. Like when we're, say in 2 years, when we're actually starting to win here as a Red Wings organization, which I know people are laughing at, but it's true. We are going to start winning here real soon.
Yeah.
I think Berggren will play very well on the third line, like Rasmussen will, but can also play to the second line. Maybe if you could take Bertuzzi and Rasmussen.
See, and that's kind of what I was thinking, but I was like, would they take that?
No, they wouldn't take Rasmussen. Though, like, a lot of people were like, why would they take Tuck? Why didn't they go after, there was another player, I can't remember. But I'm like, no, like Tuck was probably perfect. It's perfect contract for Buffalo. He's good veteran presence in the locker room for that young squad. So it made sense on that to me. It made sense.
To me, when it comes to that trade, though, the thing I don't like is on Vegas' side, there's a lot of ifs. There's too many ifs to give up a good young prospect in Krebs, a first-round pick, and a second. Now, to me, I don't like that one bit.
That's the reason why I think the trade actually went through is because of that injury. I do think that if the injury wasn't there, Eichel would have had to gone for more, for sure.
Oh, way more.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
And that's why I think Calgary brought up the whole to Chuck 2 first-round picks and like 2 prospects who I don't know who those prospects were. They're not that great, but I think that's where a good offer would have also stood from.
Yeah.
The problem does become, of course, what is Buffalo asking for? So I don't know. I do think Buffalo got a little bit fleeced, I guess you would say, but
it all, like, we're gonna have to look at this trade in like 2 years.
Of course.
If Eichel comes back and is healthy, they fleeced Buffalo. Yeah. If Eichel never gets back to that level because of the back injury and he struggles, Buffalo fleeced the hell out of Vegas.
Yeah, because you got a prospect, you got a first-round pick out of them,
a second-round pick, and a good veteran.
So, going through the comments here, Blue says, "Hell yeah, guys! Thank you for tuning in, Blue. Miss you, buddy." Peter also says, "Would you play Josh Jacobs over both Peterson or Chubb?"
No.
Who's this?
Not against that. The Giants. Not against that Giants defense. I don't like it.
Giants defense against the run is not the greatest, but also not the worst.
Yeah, they're right in the middle there.
I would go the opposite here. I'm gonna take Josh Jacobs actually, just because I think he can get more carries. And more carries obviously leads to more opportunities in the game. We all know that.
Yeah.
So I would take Josh Jacobs actually possibly over Nick Chubb this week. It's not by much, just because of the name. So Zegnif Production, Zegnif1 also says, "What is up or what's good, fellas?" Not too much.
Thank you for tuning in.
Thank you for tuning in and liking and sharing and following the show. Speaking of which, we're going to end it basically right about now. Can hear my kids screaming upstairs. They're hungry, as am I. Up here in Canada, it's basically 1 o'clock here in the frozen tundra Northland. And me and Alex are on our days off here. So we're going to go enjoy that.
I'm going to finish watching a damn good Ohio State-Nebraska game.
There you go.
23-17 Ohio State, just starting the fourth quarter. Ohio State's on upset alert.
Close one. I'm going to go get something to eat. I'm going to game for a little bit, and then I'm on my way to Eternals. So everybody out there, you guys have yourselves a great day, a great evening, wherever you are. Doesn't matter. Just thank you all for tuning in. We appreciate everything, and we will talk to you again soon. Let me put up the banner. That's North Sports Dynasty, obviously with Foobs and Stretch. I'm Foobs. He's Stretch. We do a sports show, and we thank you. We thank every single one of you guys for tuning in all the time. All of you. So like and share and follow. Tell all your friends. Tell them all. Because we want to get another Dynasty League going up here, and it's going to be sick.
Yeah.
Cannot wait. So love you all. We'll take care. Bye-bye now. And we'll see you next Saturday, and we'll also see you tomorrow for live from the cheap seats, and then Thursday again with the NFL edition with Alex Loosemore.